Okay. We are live and we are back from vacation. So exciting.
Woo-hoo! Spring break.
Hey, this is interesting, John. I just tried to at you, and there are three NASA nuts in Discord, and I don't know which one is you. 1895, 9579, and 2533. So I'm not sure which one is you. I was going to write back to you and at you, but I don't know if I got the right one. That's very interesting. You have to know which one it is. All right, I am going to do a little test playback here. Make sure you guys can hear the audio from Hindenburg.
That's a Roger.
All right, in the bottom left of the window, John, you should see your name, NASA Nut, with your logo or your icon to the left of it. You don't have one yet, and then it says a little number in with the hashtag there.
What do you do with that number?
Well, that is your unique identifier. Is I'm Podfeet 68 hashtag 6814.
Is that just for this session or is that permanent?
So no, that's permanent. So now, okay, if I look at actually I can look up John. You're 2533.
Yeah. You got
Okay.
it.
By right clicking on him. Yeah. So if I say at NASA nut, I gotta look for 60. Wait, what did I just say it was?
2533.
533.
He
There
got
we
it.
go. Yeah, but I gotta know what it is. I gotta
I
go. There you are. That's the right one. Okay. We're still learning Discord. That's kind of fun.
So there are multiple NASA nuts on Discord?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you put a face
though.
on, if you put a face or something on your icon, then we'd be able to find you better too. Yeah, if you avatar, that's the right word. Thank you, Sandy. All right, it is time for roll call. We have Steve and we have Wingman Kevin in the house. We have possibly Donald Burr. He's not responding yet. Microwave Donald Burr. Micro Donald Burr, not microwave. We've got Brett and Will and John and Nuclear John and Rose and Rick C, Sandy, Terry Vogue, and TJ bringing up the bottom of the alphabet, though. So, yeah, we're back. It's very exciting. I think I'm going to kick right in because my voice is a little bit limited here and hopefully will last for the recording of the show. We'll see how this goes. All right, guys? Everybody ready?
I'm ready. Muting.
All right. What was that? All right, here we go. You're not muted, Steve. Here we go. Failed the recording. Didn't arm the track. There we go. Here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, March 25th, 2018, and this is show number 672. Well, Steve and I are finally back from our adventure to France. I can't thank Alistair and Bart enough for holding down the fort and keeping our nearly 13-year streak going of uninterrupted NosillaCasts. I love both shows and appreciated how much you guys helped by submitting reviews for them. Excellent work all around. The entire team pulled it off. Now, you've probably noticed that I didn't manage to do a chit-chat across the pond while we were gone, but we will resume our regularly scheduled programming next week with a new episode of Programming by Stealth with Bart. All right, there's the intro. So I'm going to, save as. That's a way to go.
Just like riding a bike, isn't it?
Yeah. We'll see.
Podfeet, save. And with chapter markers with Wingman noted.
So this is going to be...
Kevin's on the job.
That's good. Okay, and that's that. Put there and copy link and paste. Boom. All right, now I got to find that blog post. My voice sounded better a few minutes ago. It's already going. Let me wind it up a little bit. Oh, insert chapter marker because Steve commands it?
He's always had it that way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You've just noticed
Kevin
that?
commands it.
No.
All right. There you go. Nope. Well, after a big trip like this, I generally like to chat a bit about how tech worked out while traveling. I got a few observations that are pretty new this year. Well, let's start with a rerun. Back in 2016, Mike Elgin came on the show to talk about tech he used as a digital nomad. In that episode, he told us about a SIM card you can get from Google called Project Fi. I'm not going to go into all the gory detail again about how to set this up because I wrote an extensive post on it in March of 2017 explaining the whole thing. The basic idea, though, is that you have to buy a Google Fi capable phone. I bought a Nexus 5X for $303 at the time. And then after you use it to initialize the SIM card, you can pop that SIM card out and put it in any phone, including an iPhone. So far, we've used it in Peru and Ecuador and now France. My friend Niraj used it in, I think it was Spain. I forget because it was actually stolen. The phone was stolen that he had it in, and we were able to replace it without any trouble. Not the phone, the SIM card. Anyway, and then Dorothy used it in Scotland. Well, the update this time is that Google made the cost of the data plan even better than it was before. The data plan has always been $10 per gigabyte, and it's linear. So if you use, like, say, 800 megabytes, it's only $8. 1.2 gigabytes, that'd be $12. It's still that same price now, but once you hit 6 gigabytes, you never pay any more than that. They call it bill protection, I should say. Anyway, at 15 gigabytes, they start to slow you down, but up till 15 gigabytes in a single billing period, you're on the fastest network available in the country where you're located. We consistently were on LTE throughout France, so it did work. Now, I should mention there's also a monthly fee of $20 a month that you have to pay to use the card, but you can freeze your account at any time and only turn it on when you need it. I've turned it on and off over the last couple of years, and it's been working great that way. Now, you may remember in my thorough explanation that a single Project Fi card gives you both voice and data, but you can also order as many additional data-only cards as you like, and they all share that same data plan. Well, our good friend Pat Dengler owns a house in France, invited us to stay there for a few days. She traveled over from California to meet us there. It's crazy what she did. Anyway, and she toured us around the town of Grézu, La Varenne, and Lyon. Anyway, I gave her one of the data-only cards from my plan, and Steve and I each took one as well. During the time we were there, between the three of us, we used 8.73 gigabytes of data, and it cost us $60 plus the $20 a month for the service plan, so for a total of $80. Now, to be fair, the data plans from US carriers have gotten a lot better than they were back when we first got the Google Fi card. Back then, AT&T charged $40 for 200 megabytes. Was just blind stealing, in my opinion. Well, nowadays they have a new deal, which isn't that bad, where for $10 a day, you use your own data plan and you can use it in any country. So you're just sucking off of your normal data usage, but you pay $10 a day extra. That's a much better way to do it, I think. But let's do the math on what it would have cost Pat, me, and Steve if we had used the AT&T deal. We were there for 14 days. So 14 days times 3 people times $10 a day is $420 versus the $80 we paid for Project Fi. That's a savings of $340. Now, that more than pays for the cost of the phone, but I already paid off the phone with the savings we made in Peru and Ecuador, plus it saved Niraj and Dorothy money already too. So this $340 savings is all real money in the bank. Now, there are a couple of inconveniences with using Project Fi versus your own SIM card. For example, only one card has a real phone number because there's only one voice and data card. Now, this problem is mitigated for us by the ability to use FaceTime audio calls since most of our friends and family are on iOS. To be honest, I only made one phone call while we were gone to tell Dean and Steve to run outside with Suzanne and me because a giant equine French military parade in the snow was happening right outside of our apartment doorway. Let's see, what was the next thing? You can end up missing text messages from people back home if they're using your phone number instead of your email address for iMessage. I did miss one fairly important text message, but there was nothing I could have done about the message anyway, but it would have been good to know. Two-factor authentication could be a problem. If while on travel, you desperately need to access an account with two-factor authentication on it that uses a text message to your phone number, you're pretty much out of luck. Now, a way around this would be to put your regular SIM card right back in the phone and then pay $10 a day for your carrier so that one transaction can be done. So $10 if it's critical to you, you might want to do that. Now, you can only tether other devices from the one card that has voice and data. For some reason, even using the voice and data card in my iPhone 10, it would not allow me to tether. I don't understand why, though, because the same phone can do tethering to other devices using my AT&T SIM card, and the Google Fi card, when put in Steve's iPhone 10, can do tethering too. So it's not the card and it's not my phone, but I don't know what it is. I also tested the Google Fi voice and data card in my iPhone 7 Plus, and that also allows tethering. I haven't cracked the code yet on why the interaction of my iPhone 10 and that voice card won't work. Well, overall, Steve and I are thrilled with Project Fi, and we used it with utter abandon, as you can tell by our data usage. We ran 3 mapping programs. We used Uber for ride hailing, which also uses map data. There's no Lyft in France, or I would have chosen Lyft over Uber. Let's see, we watched videos while out and about, and I even did a FaceTime call with Lindsay, Forbes, and Tessa while walking along the Grand Canal in Versailles. Oh man, this is gonna be rough.
Your voice. Do you want a little lemon in there?
I don't know. Hot tea might be good.
I could get some tea going.
You would have to leave the show.
Well, just pause for 3 minutes. No, I can do some tea.
Would you mind?
Nope.
Okay. I'm not ready for chapter marker yet. I'm actually just taking a pause.
Are you about to start? Going? You're about to start VPN, right?
Yeah. Is it okay if I keep going?
Sure. I'll be back.
Okay, thanks. I'm a huge fan of Encrypt.me as our VPN service on all of our Macs, iPhones, and iPads. It seamlessly connects when we're in coffee shops and hotels, and it keeps us secure. Seamless, except those times when it gets its panties in a bunch. Sometimes it gets into this mode where the VPN slider in settings just keeps flipping back and forth, on, off, frenetically. Attempts to disable Encrypt.me often don't work. Telling it to trust a network really confuses it too. Later, that same location with the same settings will work just fine. Steve and I haven't yet found a pattern to what causes this, but we both had it a few times on our iPhones. The Macs seem a little bit more stable, but the problems on the iPhones is it's hard to pin down to a repeatable pattern. I got to tell you, when VPN is on, though, we really miss AirDrop, which has gotten way more reliable over the last few years. I remember trying to do AirDrop in India with our geek companions, Wally, Wendy, Raleigh, Carolyn, and Don. It was comical how inconsistent it was back then. For example, like I could AirDrop to Don could send to Wally, but Don couldn't send to Steve or to me, but Wally and Raleigh could trade items with no problems. It was a hot mess. Nowadays, if you have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth enabled, you just set your privacy settings to allow anyone to AirDrop to you, even, temporarily maybe, and then it seems to work like 95% of the time. Back then, it was maybe 50%. Well, let's see. Next up, while we were where we live in Southern California, contactless payment capability is pretty rare. There are some stores that consistently do it, but more often than not, you can't use it. Even though stores had to upgrade to new credit card readers, most of them did the bare minimum and only support reading the chip in credit cards. But in France, I'd say about 75% of the places did support contactless payment. I became adept at saying, sans contact, in my amazing French accent. If they said yes, with a flourish, I laid down my wrist with my Apple Watch and it worked. Steve and I had a blast using it, and we even got Dean going on it. So he'd just gotten an Apple Watch right before the trip. But the fun part was the amazement of the shopkeepers. In one coffee shop, the woman actually started applauding and said we were fancy. In another, the guy lost his mind asking us if we were from the future. It was kind of sad to come home to a world of old school tech in stores here, I got to say. Well, there's something odd about my metabolism. This is still a tech angle. I promise I'll get to it. I do not gain appreciable weight on vacation. Every time I tell someone this, they say, oh, that's just because you walk so much more on your trips. It's simply not true. And because of tech, I can prove it. Let me start with this most recent trip. We started every morning with a cappuccino and a pain au chocolat. This is a delicate pastry filled with chocolate. Suzanne says the flakier the pastry, the more butter they use. And these were really, really flaky. Now, that was actually just first breakfast. Many days, Dean would make us ham and eggs with cheese. Every day, we ate a giant baguette with butter and jam on top of the eggs and cheese and ham and the croissants that we'd already had. Sometimes we'd also have salmon and cream cheese and capers on our bread. We also paired the bread with various cheeses, to add variety to our diet. Now, in terms of fruit and vegetables, I remember I ate asparagus one night at dinner, and Suzanne cut up oranges a couple of times, and I think I ate half a banana twice, But other than that, no fruits or vegetables passed my lips, but always with the bread. We always had giant lunches where I ate with abandon, no concern of calories. Now, to be fair, we didn't eat huge dinners, but there was always bread. When I eat at home, it's always lean chicken, lots of salads, maybe a piece of whole grain wheat bread every 3 days, and, some bad food on the weekends. But during the week, I eat really healthy. And I always have popcorn as snacks. So clearly, the caloric intake was far greater on this trip than I normally consume at home. Now, the other half of the equation is the caloric output. Thanks to the Apple Watch paired with the health app on iOS, I can exactly quantify how far I walked, how many steps I took, and how many active calories I burned. I created an Excel spreadsheet to analyze this. Of course I did. So we were gone for 14 days, and I recorded the steps, distance, and active calories during those 14 days. Then I recorded the 14 days prior to the trip. I averaged the values for France and for the 2 weeks at home. At home, I took 22% more steps. I walked 36% farther per day, and I burned 48% more active calories than I did in France. I averaged 18.7 thousand steps at home per day, but only 15.4 thousand in France. I walked 9 miles a day at home, but only 7 miles a day in France. I burned 841 active calories per day at home and only 596 in France. Now, I know those numbers in France would be huge for a normal person, but for me, it was positively relaxing. So, should I change my diet to include primarily fresh bread and chocolate and eliminate all those icky fruits and vegetables? My guess is that probably wouldn't work. My only working theory at this time is that since Steve and I eat on a military-like schedule that has been maintained over the past 25 years, my body has figured out how to make fat efficiently out of the meager calories I provide it compared to the beating I give it in terms of exercise. All right, take another quick break. On what day of the week did she eat it?
I think so.
What is that?
Will said, this sounds like a math problem. Allison ate 1/6 of an orange 3 times and half a banana twice. How much fruit did Allison eat?
Oh, that's funny. I like it. Wow, 62 messages since I last read. Thank you, Steve. This is good.
Excellent. Put a little extra lemon in there.
We don't have any Irish whiskey, so I can't make the Irish whiskey that
no, we don't want another one of those shows.
I do. All right.
The infamous Martini show episode.
Nasa, your icon is off center.
Oh, that's a nice one, John. Well done. I think it's not that it's off center.
Perfect.
It's just clipped.
We're such a restrained group, quiet and all.
I think it's centered because all of NASA is appearing. It's smaller than the area allows.
Yep.
Or larger than the area allows.
We just threw up on it. No, threw it up. Oh, sorry. All right. Let me keep going here.
No, Kevin, no tequila.
Don't make me cough. Okay. There you go. I don't know why I just didn't start talking. The coolest tech-related thing on our trip was the high-speed trains. We took one from Paris to Lyon, and when we went down to stay at... Okay, too many stutters. Try that again. The coolest tech-related thing on our trip was the high-speed trains. We took one from Paris to Lyon when we went to stay at Pat's house. That trip is 290 miles and normally takes 4 hours and 11 minutes by car. We took a very smooth-riding bullet train that ran at peak speeds of up to 299 kilometers per hour, which is 185 miles per hour. We kept watching the speed. We could actually see it in an app, and we think the speed limit might actually be 300 kilometers per hour because it would get real close, but it would never hit 300. Anyway, going 185 miles per hour is crazy cool. The entire trip was only 2 hours. Instead of being cramped up in a car, the 4 of us had a table between us, and we were able to play cards and relax the entire way. Now, Helma from the Netherlands and I have gotten to know each other because of programming by stealth. Whenever I'm stuck on the CSS portions of the podcast, she comes to my rescue. We've also had a couple of delightful play dates on Skype for her to teach me how to do things to actually work on my own website. She figured out if she drove an hour and 20 minutes west, she could be in Brussels. And if we took a bullet train from Paris, we could be in Brussels in the same length of time. This trip was 200 miles for us and would have taken just over 3 hours by car. Now, I couldn't be in Belgium and not see Nightwise and his lovely wife, Niana, and good friend of the show, Peter Boots. So Helma drove from Maastricht in the Netherlands to where Nightwise lives in Belgium, and they carpooled the rest of the way together, and we all met up for a fantastic day in Brussels. It was chilly and snowy while we were in Brussels, but it was great walking the city and learning about such cherished Belgian traditions as the monument entitled, and I'm quoting here, Mannequin Piss. Mannequin Piss is a small bronze sculpture of a naked little boy urinating into a fountain. Now, you might think this was just some oddity Nightwise made up, but replicas of Mannequin Piss are everywhere. You can get replicas of Mannequin Piss made out of chocolate. There's a replica outside of an ice cream store. They are absolutely everywhere. Nightwise was kind enough to buy me a small replica to take home with me. I paid him back by sending him a picture of Mannequin Piss every single day of the rest of the trip as he pretended to pee on our playing cards and my wine, on the table overlooking the planes at the airport and more. But Nightwise got the last laugh when I got stopped by airport security because I forgot Mannequin Piss was in my jeans pocket. He's made of metal. For that, I got a very intimate pat down and the radiation screening. The airport security guy questioned me. He said, what is that? And when I told him, he shook his head and said, Belgians are weird. I could not agree more. But dang, the high-speed trains were cool.
Look what Terry wrote about mannequin. It's interesting.
Did you know that mannequin means little guy, and the French took that as a loan word? But since the French always have the stress syllable at the end, the word became mannequin, which became a loan word in English and then back into Dutch. Oh, that's interesting. Interesting. I did know that mannequin mannequin was the word mannequin. Actually, he says it like monocone, something like that.
Chapter marker?
Yes.
Good job, Kevin.
Let me close this one. Go back here, preview. What is up next? Oh, good. Bart in Overcast. So let's see.
Wait. Bart in Overcast? Is that the next?
Don't start with me.
Oh, got it. That's right. We had a discussion about this.
There is no URL there. Okay. I don't have to do too much more recording. Oh, I guess I have to do the HDR thing. This could be a long show. So we got security bits too. That is 44 minutes. No, 38 minutes. All right, let me check this connection. Trains were cool.
Hi, folks. Bart here. I've snuck back into the NosillaCast. Alison is back from holidays, but I've snuck in anyway because she snuck into my show. So it's only fair I get to sneak into hers. Although when I say sneak in, I did actually invite Alison to come on a call with me. So hi, Alison.
Hi, Bart.
So I had planned, right, to do a segment for your show while I was hosting it to follow up on the segment you did a few months ago now where you went through in great detail lots and lots of podcatcher apps, because it was really fun to listen to you do that, actually.
Oh, good.
And the app I use, I sort of wanted to take it back at you, to sort of respond to you and just sort of give you a little bit more detail, because you struggled a bit with Overcast. I think it's Overcast. Let me check the name of my
yes.
Yeah, Overcast. I always mix them up between Overcast and Downcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it would be fun to talk to you about how I use Overcast. And I was going to record it as a solo segment, but since you're back, and basically the Nosilla castaways were so good, there was no room for me to put it into my own show. So I offered it to you because you're coming back from holidays. You're probably going to catch airplane flu, and you're going to be a little bit low on energy because you've had far too much deliciousness. Actually, I noticed, this is going to sound terrible, but I noticed in the picture, you send us these daily emails where you tell us what you're up to. and one of them was always a breakfast. And I noticed that you had what I consider to be the best jam in the world. It's from a French company called Bon Maman, and it has like these jars that look like they come from someone's homemade shop with the red and white checkerboard pattern. Aren't they not amazing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, every breakfast started with hello, sorry about that. All right.
Oh, you have us hanging. What did every breakfast start with?
I already just told you guys that.
All right.
All right. Let's see. How did that end up?
You want your own show. So, Alison, thank you very much for being on your NosillaCast podcast. And until next time, happy computing.
Okay. Oh, chapter marker. Kevin didn't tell me. Preview. This one has a it might be fun, Steve, if you wanted to grab the there's a well, actually I might be able to do it faster, but in that article on the HDR there, if you click on the photo in the article, it has a full screen. Sorry, it's a full screen photo.
Yeah.
The HDR photo, that would be fun to link into the chat room.
We'll do that. You're about to do that article.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the one.
Oh, you can get Bon Maman from Amazon.
Ooh, a case. Wow. Rick says yes. You can get everything on Amazon.
To be honest, I didn't actually remember it. Did you?
That's
Steve?
where I get my Taco Bell sauce.
And Whole Foods has it too. Okay, so
you want to put it in now, or once you start?
Yeah, let them see it now, because then they'll see why to be so excited about this article. Martin said mean things. He didn't think it was interesting at all. He said the camera's got a stupid name, and why would you ever want to carry a camera around?
Oh, I see. Okay, it's in the article, but not. It's the actual photo itself.
Yeah, I want you to click on the photo in the article, which gets you the full frame one.
Okay.
Okay. I'm now going to explain how the photo you're about to see was taken. It's easy to get caught up in the rush to buy the newest gadget to replace your old one. The NosillaCast specializes in making you want to do just this. When I got the Olympus OMD EM10 Micro Four Thirds camera back in 2014, it was a delightful upgrade to my giant DSLR camera. It was light and very small and easy to throw into my bag or even my purse. Lately, I've been wondering, though, if I'm ready to graduate to the next model up in the Olympus line of Micro Four Thirds cameras. Olympus numbers them backwards, with the top of the line being the EM1, the middle is the M5, and the beginner is the M10. I originally chose the EM10 because it was the smallest and lightest, and compromised on some features because those were my highest priority items, the lightest and smallest. But now I had my eye on the Olympus OMD EM5 Mark II. I'm a member of a small but very active Google Plus community dedicated to Olympus Micro Four Thirds cameras, run by a gentleman named Ananda Sim. Sometimes the smaller the niche, the more enthusiastic the people get. It's a fantastic resource for everything about these cameras. So I wrote to them asking them to convince me that I needed to upgrade my camera. They use a term in there called gear acquisition syndrome, also known as GAS. I figured they could come through for me. Well, a gentleman named Tony Tullock gave me a few ideas on what improvements I could expect, and it was enough for me to ask for the camera for Christmas, and Santa Steve granted my wish. I bring all of this up not to give you a comprehensive review of the camera, but to tell you about something extraordinary I discovered while on our vacation to France. One thing I was looking forward to was more capability to jump right to specific settings with programmable buttons on the camera. With the EM10, I was always hunting around in menus to change things like ISO and white balance. With the EM5's programmable buttons, now I have a single button to tap that lets me change both of them with the front and back wheels at the same time. But that's not why I'm writing about it either. There's a positively magic button on the EM5. It's an HDR button. Now, I'd read up on what it was supposed to do right after Christmas, but to be honest, the manual is pretty awful from Olympus and I never tested it out. but I did bump that button accidentally while inside a church in Paris. This button, when toggled on, tells the camera to take 4 shots at 4 different exposures. It then merges them into a single high dynamic range image. Normally, to create HDR images, you have to take separate photos and then at a later time merge them together using software like Affinity Photo or other products. Even with great tools, though, it's an art form and one in which I'm not particularly skilled. Whether you want to simply create a realistic looking image with great shadows and bright areas, or whether you want to create something stylized, HDR takes a lot of time and learning and talent to perfect. But with the magic button on the EM5, I was able to get some great images showing brilliant colors in stained glass windows along with internal shadow detail. I put a photo in the show notes taken inside Notre Dame. There's a statue gently lit by overhead lights. The left wall shows an ancient and very faded wall painting in incredible detail, and then stained glass windows that are not blown out at all, showing the intricate areas of each piece of glass. The most amazing part of this capture is that it was handheld. I'm not some kind of magician with ridiculously steady hands either. This was all accomplished by the computer inside of the EM5. Now let's back up a little and talk about what's going on in camera. When you toggle on HDR mode, the camera will now take 4 sequential shots at 4 different levels of exposure compensation. It calculates what that compensation is based on the available light. It also chooses exposure time for the images. Now, the maximum exposure time for each image is 1 second, and in the darkness of Notre Dame, that's the time it chose for this photo. After taking the 4 seconds it took to take those 4 images, I had definitely moved significantly, which I could see in the viewfinder as it was working away. Now that little computer inside the camera has to align the 4 images, then choose the low exposure for the bright spots, the high exposure for the darker areas. It also chooses the overlap of all of them, producing one single image that is the same pixel dimensions of a normal photo. It's not cropping it either. It then saves that file as a JPEG on the memory card. The entire process after the 4th image is taken is like between 1 and 2 seconds. Now, if you have the camera set to take raw photos before turning on HDR, it also saves one neutrally exposed raw image. You basically have the best of both worlds that way. If you want to tone map the raw image and see if you can beat the camera, you can still pursue that path. Now, I stumbled across this feature by mistake. When I got back, research assistant Stephen Getz made me read the manual yet again. I found out that if you hold down the HDR button, there are even more options available as you turn the 2 thumb dials. The default mode is HDR1, and that's the one I stumbled across, and as I described it. The HDR2 mode is a more artsy-fartsy, dreamy kind of HDR. But if you like that kind of thing, you're probably going to want to process it yourself. From the same menu, you can also choose to have the camera take a set of bracketed photos, keeping all of them for later processing in a piece of software like Affinity Photo. For example, it can take 3 exposures at plus or minus 2 EV. Steve, can you go edit that? It should not, it said Apple Photos instead of Affinity Photo right there.
Okay.
So the paragraph starts with from this same menu. I'm going to go back and read if anybody liked the picture.
It says Apple and it should say Affinity.
Affinity Photo instead
Not
of
Apple Photos.
Photos. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Thank you. Okay. Still shooting Nikon, but getting the itch, Rick. Yeah, this'll keep going, pushing you. Yeah, the iPhone 10 is smaller too. That's kind of what Martin was talking about in Facebook. He was saying, "Oh, you should just use an iPhone." It's like, okay, we'll take snapshots, which are fine. I take a lot of snapshots with my iPhone, but when you want to be artsy. Okay, I'm going to keep going, Steve. Now, none of this explains how a handheld 1 second exposure by itself came out tack sharp. The EM5 Mark II and previous versions has 5-axis in-body image stabilization. The 5 axes are 2 for translation up and down and 3 for rotation and elevation, azimuth, and roll. My EM10 did have in-body stabilization, but only for the 3 rotational axes. In addition, the camera can be set to provide anti-shock protection. This mode tells the camera to wait for 1/8 of a second after I press the shutter, and invariably wiggle all over when I do that, and then take the photo. Now, this isn't a great option to have on if you're taking sports photography or trying to photograph a small child, but the statue at Notre Dame was not going anywhere anytime soon. I've got a lot to learn about what else this camera can do, but having a single button I can press to capture difficult lighting scenarios makes me delighted. I upgraded to the Olympus OMD EM5 Mark II from the EM10. I think my watch just died because the little running man has not stopped.
Oh,
I stopped my workout how long ago? Hour and a half?
and
the little man is still running.
did it give you a done option, and you said done, and
Yep.
and it saved the stats?
I don't know, but he's still running along. Wait, you have an 8K camera, TJ? What the heck? Okay, what are you doing with an 8K camera? Okie dokie. Would you check one other thing, Steve, in that same article? It should say Ananda Sim, not Ananda Sims.
Is that early or?
If you just look for Ananda, Ananda. Ananda.
Got it. OS. So Ananda Ims.
It should be Sim. Did it say Sims still?
It said Sims. You want that to be?
I edited that and it didn't get edited. I know I did.
So like Sim as in card.
Yeah.
All right, fixed.
I can't believe Will is in grad school.
Amazing.
It does tell it. So Will was here constantly for years, and
the early days.
But he was a very young man when he started listening. So
yes, he was. It's just, like TJ's age. Well, maybe not quite.
Maybe not as young as TJ, but oh, that was close. Almost got that down the wrong. Oh, I thought you said you did, TJ. You said, I have a Red Dragon 8K camera, but have was in quotes. Maybe you have gas for it. All right, here we go.
Tea.
Yeah, but I'm coughing because I got tea down the wrong pipe. So
that lemon probably hurts.
Okay, here we go. Can you imagine how delightful it was to come back from our adventure overseas to find that Mark Mono and Clinton McDonald had just pledged their support to the NosillaCast through Patreon? How cool is that? I got to tell you, it gives me such a great feeling to know that we're providing value to you and you show this appreciation through financial support. Now, I understand many of you are not in a position to support the efforts here through financial means, so you use, Amazon affiliate links to do that, and that's 100% okay. That works really well too. But it is great to have supporters who can help pay the cost of producing the shows in whatever way you can. Many thanks to the other 65 patrons who have continued their patronage all this time. You guys rock. We're getting really close to actually having these two sources, Amazon and Patreon, balance out how much it costs to create the show. So I thank all of you very, very much for your support. I actually put in a chapter marker for that because I didn't have enough chapters. All right, we are getting close.
Oh, and thank you, Kevin, for your support of my Taco Bell sauce.
Let
me just make it clear. None of the show proceeds go to Taco Bell sauce.
Really? I think some of them do.
No, they go to pay for the show.
It all balances out. Okay, so now we got Security Bits. Oh, I got to put some Security Bits music in, don't I? Oh, gee. What's his name? Where is it? Where's my window?
You know,
there you are.
Your pod feet pin is askew.
Uh-oh. Are we in distress?
Yes. Oh, much better.
That's the old background, isn't it?
No?
Yeah, it is. It's the dark blue.
All right.
We need new business cards, Steve.
Yes, Will, it is a 1Password shirt she is wearing.
Good eye.
Not that this is a paid endorsement. We just got those. When did we get those?
I don't know. It was a while ago. Long time ago.
It's
They're nice shirts, though. I really like them.
CES or
No. They mailed them to me.
Ah.
Did you get one too?
I don't think so.
Why did you say them?
Well,
because you wish you had one.
Yes.
Maybe we should get them to send your dad one.
The octogenarian that endorses 1Password.
Exactly. Okay, let's see. Location right about there, I'm guessing. You very, very much for your support. Well, it's not that time of the week again. It is not time for Security Bits with Bart Busschots, but I asked Bart if he would. Was that too quick? Yeah. What?
A little quick.
A little quick? Okay. Felt a little quick to me. Well, it's not that time of the week again. It is not time for Security Bits with Bart Busschots, but I asked Bart if he would come in and talk to us about the Facebook kerfuffle, because it is an out-of-band Security Bits, because it seems like it's a big enough story that we don't want to wait until next week and have it overwhelm everything else that's going on. So, hi, Bart.
Hi, Alison. Bienvenue à the United States of America, or les États-Unis, I believe is French for your country.
Well, as you can tell, my voice is a little gnarly. By this time, they may have already heard you talking, by the way, about another subject. So we'll tuck right in.
Time travel.
Yeah, we have to, when we do the next recording, we have to pretend we haven't talked yet.
Okay? Oh, okay. You're going to break my brain again. But anyway, okay. So really, the main story here is probably about Cambridge Analytica, which is what everyone else was talking about. But since we're a Technology Geek podcast, there's an ever so slight Apple bias. We're obviously focusing on the Facebook to a large extent. But I figure before we can have a conversation, we should do the Cliff Notes version of what has actually happened, and then we can talk a bit more about the nerdy tech angle to it.
Let me just ask you beforehand: am I going to feel better about any of these companies, or worse when you're done talking to us?
That depends on where you're starting. I don't feel any worse.
Oh, that's bad.
You see. So the story was broken by two newspapers cooperating with each other. A large, generally liberal newspaper in the United Kingdom called The Guardian, who now own another United Kingdom newspaper called The Observer, and it was actually The Observer brand they used to publish the story, and the New York Times, which is also a left-leaning paper in the United States. So the first links in the show notes are to those two original pieces of reporting, so that they broke the story. So they are the original source material for anyone who wants to sort of get read up on what's going on here. And then in the UK, there's another major source of information, which is the news division of a UK television station called Channel 4. And they did a bunch of undercover stings with executives from a company I'll introduce in a moment called SCL. And so for those in America, I thought it was probably, well, actually you suggested it was a good idea to introduce who Channel 4 are. So those of us in the in the UK and Ireland know Channel 4 because it's one of our regulars. But Channel 4 is a commercial television station in the UK, which is it tends to be a bit sensationalistic, but it's not. Their news division in particular wouldn't be left or right leaning. It's sort of, imagine the BBC, but a bit more tabloidy, a bit more inclined to go with strong headlines, a bit more inclined to go with racier music, a bit more inclined to just, if you'll excuse the phrase, sex things up a little bit.
Okay.
But they're not like Fox News or MSNBC with a British accent. They're like the BBC gone a bit edgy.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm hoping I'm doing a good job of describing that.
It's
I'm
funny,
hoping
we didn't used to have to do this, but yeah, now we have to. Everything has to be categorized of what kind of flavor they are, right?
I think it's important if you're going to take someone's word for something to figure out who they are. And maybe we should have always been doing that. Maybe it's a side
maybe
effect
that's
of
a
our
good.
modern world.
Yeah, there you go.
So this revolves around a company called Cambridge Analytica, and they are a US shell company for British technology that grew out of research at Cambridge University that is owned by US political operatives.
Wait.
So
Okay, Cambridge Analytica is a U.S.
it's
shell
a US
company.
company.
So it's okay, headquartered in the U.S. And
Yes,
then
so they're a US company, but they actually license technology from a British company, and that technology has its origins at Cambridge University scientists.
okay, so
Now,
a British university developed this technology. Cambridge Analytica is using it, which is a U.S. company, and it's run by U.S. political operatives.
there we go.
Okay.
We'll go back over some of this in a minute because there's a few of the names I got to get in here that you're going to have heard all over the media. But the technology itself is called psychographic profiling, which is not really a science term. That's a buzz marketing term.
Okay.
And the basic concept is that you take a whole bunch of data about a person. So the kind of data you could get by watching them peruse the internet, like things, and so on and so forth. And you take that data as your input, you throw it into this algorithm, and out will pop one of a finite set of personality types. So they've basically broken the whole of humanity. Yeah, and I think I'm trying to remember the exact number. I think it's 41 different types. So they've broken humanity into a few buckets. Yeah, it's not a huge amount, right? So they haven't made hundreds of personality types, but it's more than 5. It's low T. A few tens of personality types. And the idea is that once they have you categorized into these buckets, they can then micro-target you, and they will know which strings to pull to have an emotional impact on you. And once they have your emotions going instead of your brain going, it's easier to influence you.
So if you stopped right there on this description, it would sound like something that Facebook would be doing. I know we haven't gotten Facebook in it yet, but the whole idea in Facebook is to figure out how to target ads to you. So the whole idea of Google is to figure out how to target ads to you, which you could use this psychographic profiling for something like that. But that's not where this went.
Right, exactly. So the technology is now, the technology is what it is. It's a way of figuring out who someone is so that you have the ability to influence them much more strongly than if you didn't.
Right, and pulling on your emotions. If you're big into kittens and flowers, you're going to be marketed to differently than if you talk about tech all the time.
Right, or if you're the kind of person who feels strongly nationalistic, you're going to be marketed to very differently if you're the kind of person who has a very internationalist view of the world.
Okay.
Because something which would make a nationalistic person excited and happy will make an internationalist really cranky.
Oh, so okay. It's understanding your customer then.
Very, very strongly so. And so what you effectively have is a tool which can be used for excruciatingly effective propaganda. So you figure out what everyone's personality type is, you figure out what messages resonate with each personality type, and then you send the right message to the right person so that you have tailored, targeted, effective propaganda. That's the aim of the exercise, and that's what was being sold as a product.
Okay.
So the company that did the selling originally is a British company called SCL. They were founded by
SCL. What did they have to do with Cambridge Analytica or with this technology from Cambridge University?
Cambridge Analytica don't exist yet.
Okay.
SCL exists first.
Right? Cambridge University came out with the technology.
Yeah, so the technology comes from human beings who used to work at Cambridge. SCL is a company which used that technology to make products.
Okay, gotcha.
And they're a British company working out of the UK, and they were founded by a chap called Christopher Wiley.
All right.
And SCL were using this technology for quite a few years, since I think about 2012. And they were using it in elections in various countries around the world, usually not in major first world countries, but in smaller countries where there are fewer data protection rules and things like that, and where data is just easier to get and the countries are smaller. And they're basically experimenting in smaller elections where there are less rules. Okay. And so they've been building this up slowly. SCL. That was SCL. And so they've been building up this slowly. And then around about 2014, SCL have a chance encounter with two very important people for this story, Steve Bannon and Robert Mercer, who are US political operatives. So they're not politicians. They're people behind politicians.
Right. People who help influence and help somebody to win.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know the name Robert Mercer, but Steve Bannon is certainly a household name. Okay.
Well, Steve Bannon does more of the grunt work. Robert Mercer does the checkbook work.
Oh, okay.
As in, he opens his aforementioned checkbook.
Oh, okay.
So Cambridge Analytica was set up by Steve Bannon and others with money from Robert Mercer, and it licensed the psychographic profile technology from SCL.
Ah, okay. So I've got the full circle here. So Cambridge University invents the technology. SCL productizes it, does some testing in smaller countries. Then Cambridge Analytica is set up by Steve Bannon with money from Robert Mercer, and it licenses SCL's technology.
Bingo. And they appoint a chap called Alexander Nix as their chairman, and Steve Bannon is on their board.
Okay. All right.
So at this point, SCL are promising the sun, moon, and the stars. And they don't actually have the data to make their algorithm go for the US.
They know the algorithm will work, but only if they have the data for where you're trying to influence people.
Exactly. So they were able to make it work in other countries where they were able to get the data, but now they promised the sun, moon, and the stars to their American customers, and they ain't got no data.
Okay.
So this is where the final person who's...
All right, we should probably stop fooling around here and get to work. Finish the show. I was having fun.
Oh, Tesla's arrived. Sandy will be pleased.
T-Dog.
She's doing her circles.
Come here, Tesla. Say hi to Sandy. Oh, where is she? Can't see her on the mic. There you go. Hi, T-Dog. All right.
Looks like an earthquake in there.
Ah. Oh, yes. I need to have new fonts. No, he's created a monster. Is there a place to save links within this community or anything? Is that a way? Is that something I can do? How do I turn these things off? Sorry, my watch is just gonna. It's never. See, look, he won't stop running.
Yeah, boy, yours fast.
I am fast, but when I tap on him, it's not running.
Ah.
Maybe I'll start another one and then stop it. Stop it again. Nope. I have to restart my watch. Jeez. How do you restart it? Nope, that's Siri. Maybe both buttons. I can end up with 911 call here. Oh, I was going to say, I got them off because it turned itself off. Yeah, I swiped to the left to stop it twice. And I did try charging it too. And that's what I've been doing. And it didn't work.
Until then, stay patched and stay secure.
All right. Here you go. Finale. Well, that's going to wind us. Wait, that's not going. Why is that not recording? What is going on? Not recording when I'm hitting record. That is very odd.
Have you saved recently?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I should save. It's really bizarre. I'm going to have to quit and reopen it. Well, open recent. Right. And oh, that's weird. Oh, you know what? I think I wasn't just viewing the right. Never mind. It was recording.
Beju says Le Grand Finale.
There was something I was mad about, and I wrote Lisai.
Lisai, right? Well, it's because I think. Oh,
okay. Well,
what's that?
I think it's because you were missing your bread. Oh, you showed him a loaf. You showed him a loaf of normal bread when we got home, Dean and Suzanne.
Yeah.
And you just posted.
Did you find that out?
Lisai. No, I was just recalling.
Oh, that's what I did. Yeah, I posted a picture of, low fat, whole grain wheat bread and said Lisai. All right, here we go. Well, that's going to wind us up for this week. Do not forget to send in your dumb questions. Haven't had a dumb question in a while. Well, actually, Bart had one that was asked and answered. That was fantastic. You can also send me comments and suggestions by emailing all of these to me at allison@podfeet.com. And you can follow me on Twitter at podfeet. Now, if you're looking for anything at podfeet.com, where do you think you're going to go? If you want to find Patreon, podfeet.com/Patreon. You want to find our Facebook group, podfeet.com/Facebook. Want to find our Google Plus community? podfeet.com/Google+. You're looking to get into the live chat room? podfeet.com/chat. If you want to help with the Amazon affiliate links, podfeet.com/Amazon. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, like Beju did after years and years of being gone, he's been listening, but he was gone from the chat room. You can head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic Nosilla castaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed.
So John is babysitting their grand dog. Looks a little like Dodger. It's got the same color as Dodger, maybe a little slimmer.
Let me see. Oh,
Isn't
so
it cutie?
cute. Oh my gosh, yeah. Adorable. What's his name or her name?
Don't know.
podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights. Stay subscribed. There we go. Stop. Save. Export. And export.
Ziva. After NCIS character.
Oh, really? That's interesting. I haven't heard of that, but that's very cool. Oh, subreddit. Oh, yeah. I love the subreddit.
Yeah, the subreddit. That's a good one.
Maybe everybody should be required to go look at that for like 15 minutes every day.
Just to calm down.
Nice. Yeah, just to calm down. Exactly. I think that would be good. Oh, that's acting weird. Huh. Got a window stuck to my cursor. You know, like it's magnetic. I can't. That's okay. There it goes. It stopped. That was weird. All right. Finalizing file. All right, guys. It is 5:57. I think it is probably time to call it.
Let class go. They've been good today.
Kevin subscribes to the Hourly Kitten account on Twitter. It really helps. It's a good idea. Well, Mannequin Piss says goodbye. Isn't that the most ridiculous thing ever? I'm keeping it on my desk. It's my new favorite thing. All right, Steve, say goodbye to the audience.
Good night, Gracie.
All right, everybody. Goodbye. Goodbye, Rose. Now, where do I hang up these days? Okay, there it is. Bye.